What's the wildest thing you've seen a parent allow? After school ended, I sat on a bench near the gate, scrolling through my phone and waiting for my little cousin's teacher to finish her meeting so we could leave. And the day felt peaceful, but that didn't last. A small boy, maybe 4 years old, started running around like he owned the place, and he wasn't just playing but caused chaos. He kicked over empty chairs, pushed them down, and screamed loudly. And at first I thought he was just excited, maybe a little hyper. But then he ran up and kicked me. It wasn't playful, but it was the kind of sharp pain that makes you see white for a second. And I turned to look at his mother, expecting some correction. But she just smiled and said, "Kids, eh?" And that was the moment I knew I had entered the wrong part of the day. I pushed down my anger and went back to my phone, trying to stay calm, but the boy wasn't done. He ran up to another man, slapped his shoulder, and ran off laughing. The man laughed too, but it was a nervous laugh, like he wasn't sure what to think. Then it got worse, and the boy ran back to his mom, looked her in the eye, and spat on her, not on the ground, but right on her. And she just said, "Richard, please, no spitting." I was shocked, and before I could think, the boy turned toward me again, with his cheeks puffed and ready to spit. But I glared at him so sharp he froze, swallowed the spit, and backed off, and for the first time, he seemed like a normal kid. I turned back to my phone, thinking maybe that was the end, but no. He came closer, trying to peek at my screen, then reached for my phone. I moved it to my other hand, but he followed. So I raised the phone up, but he started to cry. And that's when his mother spoke again, completely serious, and told me to give him the phone so he wouldn't cry. I looked at her, then the boy, and asked if she meant my phone, and she told me yes, because he'd cry otherwise, but I told her to let him cry. She looked shocked, like she had never heard someone say no to a child in her life. And before she could answer, the man who got slapped earlier jumped into the conversation. He started scolding me and told me the phone wasn't worth the child's tears, and added something about how I must not have kids if I could say such a thing. But I told him I did have a son, and he looked even more offended. I told him my son would never act like this, and if he did, crying would be the least of his problems. But the mother called me mean and started hugging her boy like he was a victim of abuse. And that's when the other man did something truly insane. He pulled out his own phone and handed it to the boy, and the boy smiled for the first time. And then with both hands, he raised the phone above his head and smashed it into the ground, and everyone froze. Then he jumped and stomped on it twice, still laughing like it was a game, and the phone cracked loudly. The man screamed, and the mother grabbed the boy, and the man picked up what was left of his broken phone and shouted about it. But the mom just told the boy he shouldn't have done that, and the man turned to me for help, looking desperate. But I looked away and tapped my phone calmly. He turned to the woman and demanded she fix the phone, but she laughed and said she didn't break it. And he reminded her it was her son, but she told him she didn't make him give the phone. And he got so mad and said she couldn't leave until the phone was fixed, but she told him to leave her alone. And right then, I saw my cousin walking toward our car, so I stood up and walked away without a word. And the man called after me, begging me to settle it, but I kept walking.